and transfer coach at Pennsylvania Institute of Technology. So what that means is I basically help grads and current students with their whole process of finding a job, finding placement after they graduate, or if you wanted to transfer to another institution to get a 4-year degree, I can help you with that process. I help you with your resume. I help you with your cover letter. If you needed to do like mock interviews to get some more etiquette, I can help you with that as well. So yeah, I'm just like the one-stop shop for if you had plans after PIT, you come to me first and I can help you with that whole process. And I'm gonna just bounce it over to Jackie. She is our career person today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Always love being at Pennsylvania Institute of Technology. So I am a recruiter over at Bayada Home Healthcare. I recruit for 2 offices that are both in Delaware County and service the Delaware County area, but Bayada has offices all over. So depending on where you live and if you're in the nursing field, Bayada has a place for you. But yeah, so I've been with Bayada for a little over 3 years. But Bayada is a company, we do hire CNAs, home health aides. I hire LPNs and RNs. We also have a new grad program for recent newly graduated LPNs. So that's a little bit about me. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for being here.
Yeah.
Chanel, you want to take it away?
Sure. So I'm Chanel Young. I'm the Assistant Director of Transfer Admissions here at Chestnut Hill College. So we are a small liberal arts college, offers over 35 different majors and minors. So what I do basically is help students who are interested in Chestnut Hill to transfer over to a 4-year institution to get their bachelor's degree. Or, I go out also do recruitment. So not only in Pennsylvania, New Jersey, a couple of other states, Maryland. So anywhere that's there are college students, there I am, and I would love to have you here at Chestnut Hill just to talk a little bit more about our school and see what interests you to help you obtain your degree no matter what it would be in.
Cool. Thank you. So I'll just jump right into the questions. The first set of questions are going to be for everyone. So I think we lost our grad student again, but so Jackie and Chanel, just jump in wherever you see fit. So the first question is, what are some skills you've acquired like during your experience or you've witnessed in other people that make someone successful in their career? And this is just like personal opinion.
I definitely think that, and it sounds very simple, but you would be surprised about how many, people that I do come across that don't have these certain skills, but just reliability being just a huge one, showing up on time, or if you are going to be late, just giving a heads up that, you're on your way. So communication and reliability, being on time, things like that, definitely easy skills to have that you can apply in order to be successful.
I would definitely second that, Jackie, especially with communication, but also on the flip side, listening, because I know as people and human beings, we tend to talk before we listen. So sometimes listening is a good skill in acquiring, taking the initiative. Don't be afraid that like just because you're in your role or whatever position that you're in to, step out of that and do more than what is sometimes asked of you.
Thank you. I think those were great answers. And those are, like you said, those are easy skills to have, and you can acquire, you can definitely build those skills if you don't have them already, and you can keep building on them. So that's great. How important do you think adaptability is in the workplace or at school?
Oh, go ahead, Jackie. I wasn't sure.
I think it's huge. I think it's huge and a huge, a good thing to have in life, not only in life, but also work. So even just with the recent stuff that's been happening in the world today, so the pandemic, definitely had to adapt and find new ways of doing things. So if you aren't someone who is willing to adapt, you will struggle in life, I feel. So definitely a good skill to have.
In higher education, you definitely have to be adaptable, whether you are a student, faculty, or staff. Things as, seconding and echoing the pandemic, things are constantly changing, virtual, in person. So being able to adjust and, kind of go with the flow, it will definitely, I think, help you just as a person, because you never know what situation you'll be in, whether it's work or school. You might have a test and, they might switch it from in person to online, to being adaptable, to hurry up and get on a computer and be prepared to navigate technology. So I definitely think it's important going forward.
Definitely, I agree with that, especially the whole pandemic, having to pivot. Everybody had to just figure it out and go with it. So I think adaptability is something that's underrated. People don't really think about it as much as a skill, but it's definitely something that people should try to acquire. So how can students or graduates figure out which path to choose? Is there a right or wrong choice, in your opinion?
I definitely think there is no right or wrong choice. Whatever you choose, everyone's path is different. Even when I talk to students, every transfer student is different. Everyone has their own individual story in life and where they plan to go. If you choose to go to school, great, wonderful. We would love to have you. As always, education is important to excel in your career. But also, if you just want to hop right into your career, that's okay too. We always say, school is not for everybody. And you want to make sure you are aware of that and you're directing your path accordingly. So there definitely is no right or wrong answer. It's to each his own, to everyone's benefit, where you see yourself going in life, because some people don't do any of that and go to the military. So it's really up to you and where you see your life, and then things change. So that's why it's definitely no right or wrong answer. You can start off working and then later on, a lot of people decide to go back to school to get a degree. So it really is an individual perspective and option.
Yes, I'll definitely echo that. I agree. Everyone's path is definitely different. Everyone's life is different, situations. I speak to so many people in interviews, and some are coming back into the workforce after being out for a long time, just due to different reasons. And even our new grad program that we offer new students, I always tell everyone, definitely think about it. It's not for everyone. Maybe you want to not go that route and go into just jumping in right into the career. So yeah, there's no wrong, there's no right. It's whatever works best for you, for sure.
Definitely. And I think it's important to keep in mind that your path doesn't have to be a straight line. It could be a squiggle, it could be a zigzag, it could be a circle sometimes. So just keep that in mind. Whatever path you choose is the path that you're supposed to take. So that's something to just keep in mind and help you stay motivated, hopefully. So in the age of social media, how can students or grads use their social media platforms to help them with their career success or their school success? What are ways that they can promote themselves that way?
Definitely LinkedIn, that's for sure. I'm always posting on there and sourcing and trying to find candidates. So definitely a great platform and great connections that you can make. You can make so many connections. The more connections you have, it's just takes you to a whole bunch of different places. But even just every type of technology these days, Facebook, Instagram, everyone, even Beata, we're starting to be more on the social platform. So definitely take advantage of all of them. All social platforms as much as you can, but definitely LinkedIn, I think.
I agree with you there. Definitely, we always recommend our students LinkedIn. I know we also use Handshake to, put yourself out there, but all of the social medias, even now people some kind of way use TikTok to do that. I'm not sure how they do, but people can find you on there with your videos and to, connect you with other people. So I think there's plenty of options and ways on social media that you can represent yourself, even through Instagram or people's stories when they're out going live somewhere, to even do a presentation or something, I think would be helpful.
Definitely. And always keep in mind, if you're going to have your employers or your schools following you or something, just be careful what you post on there.
Yeah, keep it appropriate.
But just to follow up with that question, so how important is networking and building a network? How would you advise students to do so? So other than social media, LinkedIn, things like that, what are other ways that they can get more involved in the community or just expand their reach pretty much?
I would definitely say volunteering. So either within the school or like you said, within your community, definitely go out and do it that way. I just recently went to a conference. And so conferences, for students, like for example, PACAT, Pennsylvania Association, that's a great way for students to get involved and get to know more about different processes and just learn more about higher education in general, so they can just be more prepared and more aware. So definitely volunteer, get involved, whether webinars, podcasts, that kind of information is always helpful. Like always, again, taking the initiative to see what else is out there so you can meet people. What do they call it? Do like little socials or whatever. Well, now since COVID has settled down, that you can go out and do social networking events.
Do it on Zoom now too.
Yeah.
Social distance.
Yeah, definitely networking with like different groups that actually have like networking events, definitely. And I know this is kind of a thing of the past, but coming back because of COVID, but just job fairs too. I know it's kind of old school, but I know a lot of schools like host them and things like that. It's a great way to meet different people and just stay connected and learn new, different people and what they do and different companies and things like that.
Definitely. Amira, you had your hand raised. Did you have a question for us or like a comment?
I actually had a comment when you asked in regards to keeping relationships it's very, very important. I'm a 2011 graduate from the PN program. And I'll tell you, she's no longer there. Margie Hamilton, she was the director of nursing. Keeping good relationships is very, very important. She helped me get my first job after I graduated from there. Okay. And I always made it my business to come back once I became a registered nurse, to come back to PIT to talk to other students just about the importance of, take advantage of the resources, your professors, ask questions, pick their brains. Because a lot of times professors not only teach in the colleges, but they work in hospitals as well. So you never know when you're going to run into them again down the line. So it's just very, very important just to maintain those good relationships, because one day your professor may be your coworker. So I just wanted to right, or your boss, right, exactly.
Thank you for that. Definitely give me your information so I can follow up with you if you don't mind.
Sure.
Because I'd love to have you talk to students and grads at another time. Have you ever encountered imposter syndrome? This is for everyone again. And if you don't know what imposter syndrome is, I'll do a brief definition. It's basically an internal experience of believing that you are not as competent as others believe you to be. So it's like a feeling that you have of feeling like you're not good enough, or that people are going to find you to be an imposter in your field. It could be in school, it could be in life. And you basically feel like you have to do do extra to feel like you're competent enough or seen as being worthy of something. So have you ever encountered that yourself? And then what are ways that you can advise for people to overcome that if you have experienced it?
I know personally I have. Have always been someone who hasn't been very confident in myself. So one thing that I think has helped is just time, like growing into my role and things like that.
Boy, going to jail.
What's fun?
Trumpy.
No, he ain't.
Okay. But yeah, so and then just the more comfortable I think that you become in your role, the more confident you become. So and then that kind of that feeling maybe gets less and less. And then I've encountered nurses who were new coming in that felt that maybe the position wasn't a good fit or they couldn't do it, and really just talking to them and giving them confidence that they need and the support. So I think support is key as well. So.
Did you have anything to input, Chanel? No. So I'll say, I think mentorship is really good. I know when I've dealt with imposter syndrome for a very long time. And the way that I try to combat it is by getting involved. So when I was in school, I got involved in leadership programs and everything that I could pretty much get involved in, just so I can feel like I was part of the community. And then at work, I tend to do a lot of workshops. I tend to become part of committees and things like that, just so I can feel more acclimated in my surroundings. And then that way, I feel like you said, I get more comfortable in my role and more comfortable with the people. And then I feel more confident in what I'm doing because I'm more knowledgeable. So that's a good way. But mentorship and having a support system is always a great way to combat any type of feelings that you might have of lack of confidence or anything like that.
I like to chime.
Sure, go ahead.
So I'm actually dealing with imposter syndrome as we speak with my current employer.
It's a normal thing.
You know, and it can make you feel, I'll give you an example of what I'm dealing with. I like to consider myself a book nurse. So someone may say, well, what's a book nurse? Well, I'll tell you, for me, a book nurse is a nurse that can tell you all of the clinical critical things, answer questions, tell the doctor, give report, etc. But hands-on is just not my skill. So the role I'm in now, I'm a utilization management 2 nurse. So which means I oversee a lot of readmissions, etc. I've never worked in a hospital. So this position, I didn't lie on my resume. I just sold myself. I sold myself in my interview and told them, hey, you know, put it in front of me, I'll do it. But I'll tell you that a lot of my peers and colleagues, I hear it a lot. They say, how did you get in this role, Amira? You never worked in a hospital. You've never done med surg. You've never done this. You've never done critical care. So it always makes me feel like, am I supposed to have this role? So, you know, it's important just to stay on top of, you know, new regulations, new health regulations, new diagnosis codes, etc. So I feel like constantly I am trying to prove myself, because I do sometimes feel like the nurses do not look down at me, but they're almost like amazed. But at the same time, it's important that I assert myself in knowing that I'm confident in what I'm doing, regardless of what anyone else feels. So I just wanted to share that I'm actually dealing with that on a daily basis.
Thank you. I think a lot of people are dealing with that on a daily basis. And some people don't even realize they're dealing with it until it's presented to, like, the definition or the words are presented to them. They're like, oh, okay, I do feel like that. But I think it's important to know or to think about the fact that everybody is dealing with their own insecurities. So sometimes you might think that people are looking at you a type of way, but they're really just thinking about how they need to get their stuff together. So yeah, just, you know, I think the best thing to do is to just breathe through it and build your confidence. Do whatever you need to do that's going to build your confidence and make you feel good about what you're doing and what you're putting out into the world. So that's a good way to combat it as well. So the next question is, how would you define professionalism, like in your own words? What does it mean to you?
I think it means being responsive, being on time, reliable, getting things done that need to get done, communication, keeping lines of communication open, and just being someone that someone can depend on.
I agree. Sorry, there were people outside my door. So, but, you know, yes, being responsible, reliable, you know, etiquette, being able to communicate and talk on the phone or talk to people in person, maintaining your composure under certain situations, I think is a really big one. Once again, always, you know, taking the initiative, but also being yourself, I think also what we forget a part of professionalism to also be your authentic self, that we're so focused on what our position is and what we have to do, that to also not forget who you are when you are still being professional along with that.
I love that answer because it's so easy to just fall into this role of like who you think you're supposed to be or what you think you're supposed to be. And then you tend to lose yourself. And then that could take you to the imposter syndrome too. So a whole lot of things can happen from that. So I love that answer. Be yourself and use your skills that you have already, because you got the job for a reason, or you're at the school for a reason. They wanted you there. So, be there. So what resources do you think students and grads have access to that they might not know of? And so I guess for Jackie, you can say like career resources that they can use to prepare or like be at work. And then Chanel, you could talk about different things on campus and things like that that they can get involved in.
I would definitely say for the resources, yeah, as far as like student life, there's so many opportunities to be involved, be engaged with, the community, wherever you are that you're with. And also too, because I know this is a lot of big thing for students, money. There is money out there. There is so many resources for free money. Sometimes, I know sometimes it may suck that you have to fill out a million essays or applications, but I will say sometimes in the long run, it is worth it. There is a lot of money and resources, free money at that, as far as like grants and scholarships that are available to students. Sometimes you just have to take the little extra initiative to do a little bit more work for it, but in the long run, it will pay off. Like I said too, with student life, get involved. College is what you make it. So being engaged, joining clubs and organizations, doing things you've never done before, stepping out of your comfort zone, because, we get too comfortable, where we are. And they always say the best way is to be uncomfortable. And that's how you learn and grow as a person as well.
I'm trying to think of different resources. I guess stuff on Indeed. I'm sure they have a lot of stuff on there. Different Facebook. I come across different Facebook like groups and things for different jobs, like nursing jobs and just employment in general around the area. Again, LinkedIn. I mean, even Bayada, like we post a lot of stuff on social media about like different events that we host and things like that. So I guess like social media and things like that.
Can I also mention going back to like, that's also part of networking, the resources, because as you meet people, those people can become a resource to you to whatever your next step will be.
That's exactly what I was just about to say. And then so the last question for like the all portion is, what advice do you have to students or graduates on their journey? So whatever journey they choose, what's like one bit of advice that you would give to them to go to that next level?
Something that was taught to me, enjoy the journey. We are so focused on the goal and the mission and the destination of completion. It's never done. So enjoy the journey. I know sometimes, enjoy the struggles and the obstacles, because when you're in the valley, you'll enjoy the peaks when you get there. And also just be open to the opportunities that come your way, whether it's for work or school. Be open to new people and what people can offer you. And always, sometimes I know students do not take everything as like criticism, but more sometimes as feedback to do better.
Yes, and to jump off to build off the being open is just put yourself out there. Give your resume to different companies. Don't be afraid. Apply to jobs that maybe you don't even think that are a good fit. You never know, at least if you do the interview, and you might find that it's something that you maybe never thought of that you would like, but after you do the interview, it is a good fit for you. So definitely keep your options open, and don't be scared to explore different types of companies and things like that.
Yeah, I saw research saying like statistically, men will apply to jobs that they aren't qualified for more than women will. And I think that's a good thing to think about when you're saying put yourself out there. Like maybe you don't feel like you're super qualified for that position, but maybe you can get it. And then you will excel and do well. So you never know, just, use your resources. Tiffany, you raised your hand, you have a question?
Good afternoon, everyone. Sorry, I'm just trying to baffle work and everything, but I just wanted to piggyback real fast on putting yourself out there and not realizing what you're doing and sharing your thoughts and honoring yourself and carrying yourself with value. It's just funny and extremely coincidence to me that I recently applied for Bayada as a client service associate, and I don't recall submitting anything to them. And when I received emails about it, oh, well, come in, we received this. And I'm thinking to myself, when did I do that? Well, long story short, fast forward, I'm due to start with them August 4th, and I am extremely excited. And I'm just like thankful to my higher power because, again, I do not recall posting my resume on their website, anything. And I must say, like, this journey has been a heck of a journey for me between my family, COVID, my children. But guess what? I keep going. That path, like you mentioned, as long as you remain on that path, we may make several pit stops, but we're going to get there. We're going to get there. We got to fill our car up with gas. We got to get fuel. We got to exercise a little bit. You got to cry a little bit. You got to do whatever, but we're going to get there. I promise. But again, I'm just extremely excited to start with Bayada, and I will be in touch and let everyone know how I do.
Awesome. Congratulations, Tiffany.
Thank you.
Happy to have you part of our Bayada team, Tiffany.
Thank you.
That's so ironic. I don't want to say your name wrong, Sancharay.
You said it perfectly correctly.
Oh, great.
You did.
You had a question?
I didn't really have a question. I just wanted to
comment?
just share my experience at PIT.
Mm-hmm.
I can honestly say this has been the best experience of my life.
We love that.
I'm 30 years old. Listen, I'm 30 years old. When I first graduated out of high school and went to college, I'm going to tell you right now, I was not prepared. Okay. Nobody gave me the warning that everything that you learned in high school is not the same thing as what you're learning in college. So that's what really screwed me up the most when I first went to college. I was like, okay, so I thought I knew this, but then again, okay, I must be wrong. I realized when I was 18, college was not for me. So I had quit for a little bit. I can honestly say once I started at PIT, I knew my journey was going to be okay. Sometimes when you in life, when you don't realize your own potential and somebody else does, I can honestly say Miss Rosie, I know she on here. That is my academic advisor. She has literally throughout this whole time that I've been here, been like encouraging me. I know I was plenty of times on a call to her phone freaking out. Okay, like I'm late for an assignment. Oh my God, like my computer froze, my computer broke. It was just like everything, like it was, and she still stayed with me. She still gave me that encouragement. I did not know my potential back then, but I know it now. And I can honestly say, I want to say thank you to everybody that took part in that because it wasn't easy for me. Same thing with COVID, me working, everything like that. It wasn't easy. But I'm really grateful for you guys because you guys gave me the best look on life I've ever received.
Yes, we love words of encouragement over here.
You were the best student.
I'm glad that you had a great experience. Rosie, you said something?
Yeah, I said Joy was one of my dear students. Tiffany, you too, but Joy too, everybody. No, but it's
I just want to say you are the best academic advisor a person could ever ask for.
Aww.
Like when I say Miss Rose,
don't make me cry.
No, because you already making me cry and emotional. I'm already there now. I'm really already there.
Okay. And you did it.
But Miss Rosie is one of them people where you can call her freaking out. I mean, like, listen, I will text her at 11:30 at night, knowing she's asleep. Like, I'm like, okay, listen, I don't think Miss Rosie gonna answer me, but we're gonna send this message anyway. That way, when you wake up, I want you to see this and call me immediately because I'm freaking out over here, like literally. And every time I started going through my motions and everything. Miss Rosie was right there. She was like, you can do it. When you don't believe in yourself and somebody else does, and you don't see that for yourself, and you happen to just have somebody in your corner that knows how much you can do things, even when you don't think you can do it, you keep them around. You keep them around immediately because at the end of the day, I'm gonna say this: God places people in our life that we don't even know why they're here.
Yep.
And Miss Rosie was placed in my life, and I didn't even know. Listen, I was just like, okay, she's my academic advisor. But when I started getting to know her, she started really calming me down, and she started being there for me. And when I'm sitting here like, okay, I think I failed this, Miss Rosie. I think I did. She like, you know, you didn't. I don't know why you keep saying that. I was like, but I do. But I think you know, you need to keep those people around because they are your encouragement. They are your motivation for you to keep going.
Yes.
And I really thank you for that, Ms. Rosie. You are the best.
Oh, you're so welcome.
I
Thank
wish
you.
I'm going to stay. Listen, I'm haunting your phone down now, being that school is over. So just know I'm calling. I'm just know my number needs to be saved. You done adopted a daughter. You literally have.
No problem. I see you at graduation.
Tiffany, you had your hand raised. Did you have another comment?
No, I was just trying to hold back tears because it was about to turn into like a whole PIT reunion over here. Yeah, I was one of those students. Rosie wasn't my direct academics person, but we met in the hallway one day and I gave her something. And it was just that day. I guess she was going through something at the time. And she said, Tiffany, you made my day. You made me smile. And ever since then, I was just always in her office. I was in everybody's office, to be honest. Mr. G, he's always hitting his head. What happened now? I'm like, nothing. There's nothing wrong now. But you'll know when something's wrong. And just to piggyback, I went through a lot there too. And just know, like when I was home thinking I was alone, I would call up to the school, you know, just pull up to the school when I didn't even have class, just to know that I wasn't alone. And I can just do this. Like, I'm here for a reason, a cause. And I was that individual too. College isn't for me.
Mm-hmm.
College isn't for me. But that was me not having the proper resources, me not having people wanting to see me to do better in my life. Mm-hmm. And when that one morning I picked up my laptop and PIT popped up, I'm like, okay, what is this? And then here we are. Straight from PIT.
And now you're about to work at Bayada.
It's funny, I'm having this conversation today. And now I'm about to work at Bayada.
Yep.
And then I got a postcard from Jefferson today to go back for my master's. So I'm like, wow, This is awesome.
Yes. I'm so glad that y'all had a great experience. Oops, sorry, go ahead.
And you better go back too, Tiffany.
So we're gonna keep it flowing. So we're gonna head over to like the career specific questions. Jackie, you ready?
Yes.
Okay. So in your opinion, or from your experience, how should students approach the job hunting, or how should they approach job hunting for their career? Like, how do they start?
So there's so many resources out there. Definitely posting your resume on Indeed. I do get a lot of applicants that way. So sourcing. So place your resume on Indeed. Apply through Indeed, as you can find jobs on there too. Different websites, networking, as we mentioned, job fairs. Attend as many as you can for that, because there's definitely different opportunities, different companies that you can meet that way. Different Facebook, LinkedIn, all of that.
Thank you. I think it's good to, or I guess I'll ask you this too. Do you think it's good to like do research before you apply for a job, or before you even think of a career path? Maybe you can do like an assessment or something like that. They have that on Career Coach and things like that, where you can do a brief assessment of like what you might be interested in. Do you recommend something like that?
Definitely. Also, if you could ever like shadow anyone, that's like a good way of seeing if a job's good for you. But definitely research the company, look at their website, read up on it. You can also like the Glassdoor definitely gives great reviews. Employees that actually give feedback on the company, I definitely recommend looking at that as well, because people are very honest on that, I think. Mm-hmm. But yeah, definitely those types of surveys and things like that.
Great. I see that we have hand raised, but I'm trying to like make sure we have enough time to do all the questions. So if you could put like your comments and questions in the chat, and then we can have the conversation there. We can keep it flowing that way. So I'll keep going. What do you think makes a resume good, quote unquote?
Yeah, so definitely clean cut, to the point, not too much fluff, I guess, if you will. Also, definitely keeping it in order. Sometimes I get resumes that are kind of all over the place and it's hard to follow. So definitely make sure that you keep your most recent experience at the top and then go down from there. And try to, you know, if you've been at a company for a very long time, you don't have to go all the way back to like when you were 16 and like your first job. We can like take out stuff like that as time goes on. But yeah, try to just keep it clean cut, to the point. I think they're the best resumes that I come across.
Same question for cover letters too. I know I didn't write that in the panel, but
yeah,
questions before, but
yeah, I mean, in my personal opinion, they're not as important as the resume. Yeah, I mean, maybe in different companies, like different types of roles, but I know for mine, it's not necessary.
Right. You know how to nurse or you don't.
Yeah, exactly.
What makes a candidate stand out in the interview process?
So candidates that stand out to me definitely are on time, show up, great communication. I know I keep saying it, but it's just so important.
No, they are.
Yeah. And then just the way that they communicate. So just even if they're newer nurses, they might not know as much, but just keeping it positive, happy, and being able to reflect on their why and why they want to be a nurse, I think is important. So if I can feel that they're passionate about their job, then that's very important. So keeping it positive.
Yeah. And then I always say, make sure you have questions too when you go to an interview, because that's
a good one.
Interest.
Yes.
You want to show them that you're actually interested to work there.
Yes.
Don't come with questions. It makes it seem like you just want to get a paycheck, which is okay, but don't let them know that.
Yeah. Definitely. Also, I agree. Questions are good.
And also at the same time, dress professionally as well. That is the main thing, because your appearance is the first thing that they see. So your first impressions is everything. So make sure that your appearance is professionally looked.
Yes. Definitely. Very important.
Yeah. For the last couple of years, I've been doing virtual and phone interviews. So I tend to forget that stuff because I used to do interviews in person. But yeah, very good. A very good one. Yes.
I think even still, if you're doing an interview over Zoom, you can at least put on a collared shirt or something.
That is
true. They're already going to see you from the
Listen, they're not going to matter if you got shorts at the bottom. They're not going to matter if you got shorts at the bottom. But long as you got on a button up top, your hair is put up nice, at least be presentable. But you don't lounge around like we at home, type wear, things like that.
I agree.
What are some key things to look for in a job of interest for students or graduates? So like if they're interested in the job, what should they look for in that job? If that makes any sense. And I'll rephrase it.
Can you
rephrase it?
Yeah.
Sure. So like if they are interested in a specific job, should they look for what should be important to them? Should they automatically just say, okay, this has a salary that I like, I'm just going to go for it? Or should they look at other things like if diversity is important to you, or if they have different programs that you're interested in, or things like that?
Yes. Yeah, definitely keep your options open and be open to different companies. So always, you don't want to just focus on like what you just said, like the salary, or it's something that something that you're looking for. You want to make sure that the company culture is a good fit for you, how they treat their employees. So not just salary, but maybe benefits as well. things that they do for their employees? Do they have any type of tuition reimbursement or scholarship programs? Are they invested in you as much as you're going to be invested in them?
Mm-hmm. I know personally, I always look for growth opportunities. So I like to be somewhere where I can keep at least moving up or getting more knowledge in what I'm doing, because I'm always thinking about my next step. So I think that's important to think of as well. Even if you're planning on staying at a position or at a place for a long time, you want to keep elevating, you want to keep growing.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then I always like to see that people work there for a long time and they're still happy. I know when I came here, Kamira and Garrison have been working here for like 14 and 15 years and they still seem like they love their job. That's a great sign.
That is a good sign. Yep. Yep.
So in what ways have the career setting changed as far as like mental health and diversity and inclusion from your experience so far?
Yeah, I mean, I can speak for Bayada. Definitely that has changed. I mean, I've only been there for 3 years, and that has changed so much in the short time that I've been there. So we have a diversity and inclusion team and meetings every month, and it's grown tremendously. So definitely another nice thing to look for in a company.
We just recently had we had off for Juneteenth. I was very excited about that.
Okay, yeah, yep.
So how important is higher education or training in specific areas of interest in the workplace? So how important is that training or that knowledge that they gain in school how important is it to transfer to the workplace?
Yeah, I mean, definitely any type of schooling, training is definitely a good thing to have. I mean, I can just speak for Bayada, obviously, LPN programs and RN programs, but even just our company within going back to school and things like that, we're big on that. So we have a scholarship program we offer every year and offer some sort of money for all of our nurses to go back to school, tuition reimbursement and things like that. So yeah, definitely a good thing to do. And it doesn't have to be, I always tell everyone, like what we said before, like everyone's path is different. So what one schooling is for someone might not be a good fit for you, but there's definitely a lot of opportunities out there to take advantage of for sure.
Okay, great. We're going to skip the last question I had on the list because we kind of answered it previously. So I'm going to go right over to our transfer questions with Chanel. Are you ready?
Sure.
Thank you, Jackie, for your insightful answers too.
Thank you. Yep, no problem.
So Chanel, what should students know before they start their transfer process?
Yeah, so definitely one major thing is, what kind of school do you want to go to? There's a lot of options. A big school, a small school. Do you want to go to a public school, a private school? Do you want to go to a religious institutions? So those are the kind of things that you will want to start to think about when you are thinking of transferring. Like, what kind of environment do I want to be in? What is the culture going to be like? Because that's going to play a big role in how you perform in school.
Definitely. How far in advance should students think about the transfer process before they actually transfer?
I would recommend, honestly, start thinking after your first semester. So as you get, or even after the second semester, if you go a full year, you definitely by then would want to know like where you think you may at least want to apply, or as far as like your major, where are you thinking about your career pathway is. Usually they say around between 24 and 30 credits is when you want to start considering like, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to major in. These are the schools that I'm looking at. Thoroughly think about along to the type of the credits, because that's important. You want to make sure wherever you go that as many credits as possible transfer, so you have the best opportunity to, when you obtain your degree, you're not taking as many classes as you need.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of people don't know about like accreditation or what that means, but definitely if you are able to, if your school posts it, you should see where they're accredited, and that can help you out a lot with knowing like where your credits can transfer. But that kind of piggybacks into the next question. What exactly does a transfer counselor do? So I know you can help with credits and things like that too.
Yeah, so a lot has to do with the part of my job is recruitment. So going out and speaking to students about Chestnut Hill, talking to them about the credit, our transfer process. We transfer up to 75 credits here. But in general, what type of credits will transfer? Will they come in as electives or part of your core requirements? Talking about your major, what are you interested in? And if we don't have that particular major, I always like to, for example, I know that a lot of people do ask for nursing. Chestnut Hill does not have nursing. However, we offer health sciences and biology. So there's always more than one pathway to get to where you want to go. So especially if there's a particular school you want to go to that doesn't offer your major. So I always recommend, ask questions so you understand. I help with the full admissions process. So from the time you fill out your applications, I am your point person to help you through if you have questions about your transcripts, how your application process is going, scholarship money. So I always say I'm like the main point of contact. I'm the resource. And if I don't know, I will find the person for you to help you to get your answers.
How does attending college prepare students for the workforce?
Yeah, absolutely. It builds on those skills that we all talked about earlier, as far as like communication and listening, taking the initiative. Those are all being reliable and dependent. Those are all skills that you learn inside and outside of the classroom. So as you're doing your work assignments, turning your work in on time, that's all part of the process, just like coming to work on time. All those little things, there are stepping stones to build and grow you while you're in college. So communication, I know a lot of people, or a lot of students sometimes do not like public speaking, but communication is really big because not only do you have to public speak, sometimes nonverbal cues says a lot as well. Mm-hmm. So I think people, when you take communication class, you can become more aware and more efficient that like, oh, it's not just about speaking, it's about, my reaction to things that you might not even be aware of. So I definitely think doing all of that and taking advantage of those and taking advantage of the opportunities that college has to offer while you're there is important too.
That goes right into our next question. How can students get the most out of their higher education experience?
If I can say nothing else but get involved and engage is like the main key for everything. College is what you make it. If you just only go to class, that's what it's going to be. You just go to class. Versus if you join clubs and organizations, from, Black Student Union to like an anime club, to art club, to history, a National Honor Society, there are so many options that students can take advantage of to get involved. And that, once again, that helps you in the long run. You can throw some of this stuff on your resume, even if, you were the president of whatever club it is, or the secretary, because those are still little skills that you pick up along the way. If you're a secretary, they might notice like your writing skills are phenomenal. Mm-hmm. That could lead you to a good career pathway. People, we all know, you write emails. We all want it. That's a skill that everyone needs if you're, on a computer or anything like that. And once again, communication is key, because even though you're not public speaking or that's not your job, you have to talk. You're talking to somebody, no matter who you're talking to, whether you're on the phone, virtual, in person. So there's some form of way of communication that you are talking to somebody. So constantly brushing up on those, as they call them, soft skills, is really important, and it goes a long way.
Yes. I went to a conference, or like I guess you can call it a conference. And they said instead of soft skills, we should call it success skills. So yeah.
I like that.
Use that term from now on. And then to finish it off, tips on how to manage time with school obligations and real world obligations, because a lot of students do have their caretakers, or they have other obligations that can distract them from school. So how can they manage their time well to be able to do all those things and have those experiences, but still be able to take care of their real world life?
I think one thing is to kind of like assess like your life and what is actually going on, because working with transfer students specifically that I do, they are working, or they do have children, or they have a lot of things going on. So number one, assessing, like, so when when they're interested in a particular program, for example, for education, I ask them in the beginning, what's your work schedule like? Because for education, the classes are during the day. And if that's not going to work for you, we need to either figure something out, or as much as I love for you to come to Chestnut Hill, when I'm not in the realm of doing, I want you to be successful no matter where you go. So if it's not Chestnut Hill, where can I help you so you can be successful, that the program is still going to work for you? So I think that's like the first thing, asking those kind of questions, like, what is my work schedule? What can and not do? Does daytime or nighttime work for you? Do you need online? Do you need in person? So kind of assessing what's going to work best for you there. And then going forward, well, how many can you handle being a full-time student, or do you need to be part-time and only take two or three classes? So thinking about that kind of stuff, and then prioritizing as far as like your classes, especially if you are transferring a lot over or a little bit, what do you feel like might be your strong suit? Are you good at math? Are you good at English? Because those are kind of classes that you also need to think about. Do I need to be in person? Do I need to be virtual? Am I going to need more hands-on help and tutoring for that, and how to fit that in? And then sometimes to think, do you have the support? Because education, sometimes going to school is hard. So is there any support that you have? And that's okay, because sometimes, some of our students don't have the family support. So then that's where we come in here as the school to be your support. So I always read, let's talk to us so we know what's going on, so we can help you to find those support and resources to make sure we can help you balance it. Have a class in the morning and your other classes later in the afternoon, so that way you can work in between to help you out.
I love the fact that you said, like, I know I work for Chestnut Hill, but if we're not a good fit, I'll still, guide you in the right direction. I think that's a good thing to consider. If you think about all those things that you just said, and you feel like, okay, I cannot manage going to this specific school because of everything that I had, all the obligations I have elsewhere, goodness gracious, maybe this isn't a good time, or maybe this isn't a good fit. So also consider those when you're looking for a transfer school, what fits into your schedule in your life. So the next portion is the student/grad questions, but I think Tiffany just popped off again. Oh, there she is. But Sancha-Ray, I loved your answers earlier. So if you could participate in this portion as well, that'd be great. If you so choose. So the first question for the students and grads is, how prepared did you feel when you were starting your job search, or if you transferred, how prepared did you feel after leaving PIT to transfer?
Oh, okay. Wait. Okay, I feel confident. I can say that. I feel more confident than I did before. I can honestly say that. I'm like, whew, wait. Well, you just put me on the spot. Wait a minute.
It's okay if you want to think about it for a second.
I feel confident. I feel confident. I could say that, the experience that I've gained from PIT has given me, more options for myself, for me to develop what I want to do with my career. Mm-hmm. I can say that as far as me transferring, I can believe the process will be easy for me, rather than, before, it was before I could probably be like, okay, I don't think I'm good in this area. I used to doubt myself a lot, being at PIT, but throughout my journey, I've come to the realization that doubting yourself does not help anything. It makes things worse. So by me just speaking things into existence, it makes it better for me. So I can say that the transfer process will be easy for me this time than it was before. So yes, I'm more confident than anything.
It's all about that mindset. You just gotta change the way you look
yeah, once you change the way you look about a lot of things, that's when everything that you are looking to do and the plan that you have set will become easier for you. Yeah. You got to have confidence. Once that confidence come in, nothing should stop you after that.
Yes. Tiffany, did you have anything to add in to that question? I can repeat the question if you need to.
Sure. In reference to the transfer process?
Or starting your career after PIT, just how well prepared did you feel after you graduated?
Well, I was extremely well prepared. I gained so much knowledge and had nothing but support and resources to back me up. I must say, my life kind of got a little wacky afterwards, but just kept that mindset that, you know, I have my degree, I made the accomplishments, and nobody can take that away. As far as making a transfer to Jefferson, that was smooth. It was easy. I learned that it was a lot of classes that I could take at PIT and it could be transferred to electives at Jefferson. So that saved some money and time as well. So that was cool. Yeah, so that's it for me in a nutshell.
Okay, great. I know that we are running a little late. So if you have to sign off, just please give me your email before you do so. If you are able to stay on, that's great as well. I would like to finish out the rest of the questions because I think they'll be helpful. So if you can stay on, feel free to, I will. So yeah, put your email in the chat before you log off. And I'm gonna keep going. So for the students or the grads, what resources did you use while you were here that helped you feel more successful? I know y'all said Ms. Rosie.
Miss Rosie for one.
I use everyone. I networked as much as I could possibly can when I was at PIT. Anybody in the hallway I seen that I didn't recognize, I would introduce myself because you never know. I'm just a communicator like that. I like to network. So I just utilize all my resources down to the ladies in the office that handles all the records. Everybody was awesome. All the academic counselors, everyone. I have nothing but good things to say about PIT, and they made me feel like it was a family versus a business. That's another thing with schools. You know, they're not out here to just get the money and, you know, send you on your way. They make sure you have everything you need and more. So I thank everyone for that.
That's a great skill to have too, to be able to just go up to people and introduce yourself. A lot of people aren't able to do that. So I'm glad that you are able to do that. And that's definitely going to help you in your success. Leisha, I think, Lucia?
Leisha, you're correct, Leisha,
Okay.
yes.
You had a comment or a question?
So I did the same thing as Tiffany. Like when I'm at school, I'll talk to like the fourth term students because I'm in term 2 right now. And also like Mr. Garrison, he knows that I'm always like calling him. And, you know, one time I was like crying on the phone to him and he was like, all right, calm down, calm down. I'm like, he just doesn't understand. When I hung up, I'm like, he just doesn't understand, but he really is. He's really good too. I just feel the same way as Tiffany does. Even like, this is my first time in college ever. Mm-hmm. And I feel like, I don't know if it's supposed to be like this, but it really feels good to be at PIT. And I say that, like, I told my daughter and she's like, oh, I'm going. I'm like, good. Yeah. It really feels good. Like, I feel like everybody's there to help. I really feel that way. Yeah.
That's exactly why we're here.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Okay.
Even like the professors, they're really willing to put their time in and step to the side and speak to us. And like Professor Swindell, she'll do a Zoom with me just so that I can learn the math or, you know, whatever I have a question with, they're pretty much responding back positive words and encouragement. And I really like that, being as though I started late in the game, but yeah, I do like it. I love being a student at PIT.
Oh, I'm happy to hear that. Sasha Ray, did you have another question or comment? I can't tell because your hand has been raised the whole time.
I'm sorry. I don't know how to turn it off. So
oh, no problem.
I'm sorry.
I think I can do it.
Just to piggyback on what Tiffany and Alicia, is it Alicia? Did I say it right? I don't want to screw up people's names. I'm trying to tell you, I don't want to screw up nobody's name. So if I said it wrong, I'm sorry. Charge it to my head, not my heart. Okay. But just to piggyback on what they said, it's really been amazing at PIT. And I actually was referred by my next door neighbor. Okay. My next door neighbor is a full-blown nursing director. She started at PIT. And I was referred by her and I was like, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I want to go this second round, you know. And that's what I piggyback on of saying your support system is the best thing to have standing behind you. Mm-hmm. From Miss Rosie, listen, I even was calling the financial aid people to bug them about everything. Listen, I literally have enjoyed my experience at PIT. This school particularly, and I'm serious, because when they say it's a family, that's exactly what PIT is. It's a family. You could call teachers anytime. You could text them anytime. They will answer you. Same thing with Miss Rosie and things like that. It is so much of a better place to be, like, than anywhere else, because you have so many people here that are willing to just sit aside their personal life just to help you with what you need help with, and I really appreciate that, because without their help, I don't know where I would be. I literally appreciate it, because PIT, let me tell y'all something, y'all the best. Y'all really are. Y'all really are. And if it wasn't for you guys, like, I appreciate you guys for just allowing me to have that opportunity to just receive my degree here, because it was a wonderful, wonderful experience. And I really enjoyed it. If I could come back again, I would, literally, for something else. Like, literally, just because the enjoyment that you get and the love that you receive from each and every person in this school is wonderful. You don't get that. You don't get that in a lot of places in this day and age of where we at in this lifetime. You don't get that many places or that many people who is that much concerned, just like you, with your education. You know what I'm saying? At the same time you are. You don't get that. So just to receive that, and just to receive the encouragement, the dedication, and, just be having everybody that's reliable, that you can count on, and they're there no matter what, it's amazing.
Yes. If we needed words of affirmation today, I think everybody got it. So I'm going to skip over some of the questions because they've been answered pretty much from other answers. But one question I do want to ask is, what skills outside of your education do you feel have played a role in your success in your career or just life after PIT so far? So, like, it could be something that you learned about yourself while you were here, a skill that you developed outside of the classroom, but just from like being on campus and things like that. I know it was mentioned that confidence has been one of the skills, or I guess not a skill, but one of the things that you've been able to gain. But what else have you been able to gain for yourself that helps you in your success?
I can honestly say what I've received from PIT, before school, I was a procrastinator. Okay, I'm going to sit here and tell y'all that. Listen, I will sit here and wait till the last minute to do stuff, and then But when I came to PIT, they gave me a lot more sense of like patience, learning how to do things at a set time. Writing down your task that you need to complete. I'm better at organization now. I'm better at having patience. I'm better at being confident in a lot of things that, I wasn't confident in before. Just being able to just opening your brain and your mind to different things and being able to just take on those things and finish them and complete them. It wasn't easy, but just to have those things and those attributes, and as far as being at PIT, has gained a lot of things, a lot of confidence within me, because certain things we really say, oh, we can't. You use that word can't too much. I don't anymore. Being in PIT, I've took the word can't out of my vocabulary, because every time I said that, I was setting a bar for myself that was not like me. Certain thing with PIT gives me more ways to set high standards and actually stay with those standards, and not even fall nowhere close to being below those standards. So that's what I gained from being here.
I love that. Does anybody else? It could be anybody that's on the call, any student or grad. What skills have you learned? What have you learned about yourself? Anything like that that's helped you?
Hi, my name is T. This is PIT. This is my second time back at PIT. Mm-hmm. The first time I came to PIT was probably 2016. And at that time, I had a lot of stuff going on, but I was pushing it. I'm like, yeah, I'm about to go to school, I'm about to get this degree. And life kicked me down. It's like, no, I'm about to win. So I've been sitting back. I'm like, you know what? I'm about to go back to school. I registered to another school, but they was wasting time. So my cousin's like, why you can't go back to that school you went to? I'm like, I'm waiting Coatesville PIT's in media, that's a track. She was like, but you already got credits there. I was like, all right, let me apply to this school. If the other school applies back to me in time, then I'm just going to go there. PIT, she called me right away. She's like, yeah, we have you in the system. I can get you in classes right away. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going back to PIT. And since I've been back, nothing has changed. When I say nothing has changed, in a positive way. Like, you still call your advisor and they'd be like, all right, we're on it. You call anyone, they're like, okay, I'm looking into it. Teachers, you're complaining about something to the teachers, and they're like, okay, let me get back to you. I'm gonna text somebody or email someone and get you some information. I would not regret coming back. I have not regretted one bit yet of coming back to PIT. And I'm so glad that I did, because by July, I'll be starting my nursing program. That's how proud I am of myself. And the best decision I made was going back to PIT. And I can't wait to see how this time going further. I promised myself that that's my goal. I'm going to get that degree from PIT. That's it.
That's good. So it sounds like you gained some motivation, like you got self-motivation. That's a very good skill to have, just to be able to get yourself up, going and say, you know what, I'm going to make this decision. I'm going to go for it. However it happens, it's going to happen, but I'm just going to, have that mindset to just go for it. So that's always great, because like we mentioned earlier, it's good to put yourself in front of situations or opportunities or people that can help you in that success. And that's going to help you build your network. That's going to help you build your support team, and just, everything that you need in order to gain that success that you're looking for. Does anybody else have any input or comments, questions, anything before we wrap up? All righty. Well, thank you everybody for coming today and joining us. I think this was a great conversation, very helpful information. I hope everybody that was on the call feels the same way. And you are able to apply this to how you tackle whatever your next steps are, if you are in the process of transferring or finding a career, or if you're a current student, you can use this information to help you complete your program here. And then once you do start that process of transferring or starting your career, now you have 2 contacts on here. Jackie and Chanel, if you don't mind putting your email in the chat for them as well, just in case. Or ways to get in contact with everybody. And yeah, okay, cool. I'm getting some more emails from students too. And I'll email all the students to follow up. This is being recorded, so I'll send out the recording to everyone. And yeah, hopefully you all had a good time. I had a good time. It was fun.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Joshua, Tiffany, all the students. Congratulations.